So I called the puppy, sorry. Environmental Natural Resource Commission on August 17th, 2020 to order at 7:04 p.m. All right. First order of business. All right. Oh, that. I really actually have everything here. I just all of a sudden got puppy and dog hanging out with me. All right. Keith Butterman.
Here.
There you are. Pencil. Yeah. Molly Miller here. Candace.
Hi. Oh, everybody froze. Nope, only Molly froze. Molly froze.
What do you do when your chairperson freezes?
They don't
Is our
have
vice
this in
chair here tonight? Is
Robert's
Yes,
Rules of Order.
Ted is, oh yeah.
Do we wait a minute for her to come back?
Yeah, maybe she's restarting.
But I think we were finishing up roll call. So Commissioner Okeson, if you want to finalize that, I think we were calling on Commissioner Palzer.
Commissioner Palzer.
Here.
Here. Brooke.
Looks like Commissioner Miller is connecting again. Be just a moment.
I don't even know the list of everybody went through. Ted Redmond, not here. Ann here. Candace here. Molly's coming back. Keith Butterman.
Here.
Here. There we go.
Hey, thank
Roll
you.
call.
Sorry about that. I froze and then I disappeared. Sorry. Where
We
was
missed
I? Candace Okeson?
Too late. We already did it.
Oh, Ann Palzer and Ted Redmond. Ted is not here. Absent. I got him. All right. Approval of the agenda. Oh, wait. Last week. Sorry. Yeah, approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, no staff changes.
Anybody have any
I'll make a
changes?
motion.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Commissioner Palzer makes a motion. And
Second.
Oh no.
Molly.
She's froze. Commissioner Molly.
Commissioner Okeson, if you could just take over.
Okay. Well, we got seconded, so I passed to move. I don't even remember what we were doing, but I passed to move that.
Commissioner Okeson, we were approving the agenda as submitted.
Agenda, yes. Approval of the agenda. We all approve of it. Yay! Done.
Aye.
Next is the approval of minutes for July 20th.
Correct.
Correct. All right. Anyone want to move to do the stuff with the things? I'm really good at this.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Environmental and
minutes,
Natural Resources
July 20th.
Commission meeting from Monday, July 20th as submitted. No changes.
thank you. I'm going to try to get in on my phone instead of on that. I think I have a crappy thing. All those, go ahead and finish that one.
All right. You want a second? The
I'll second
approval-
it.
All right. Then we approve it. Yay. Let's move on. Done. Motion
I think we
approved.
need to vote though. I think we
Yep,
need to
all those
say
in favor say aye.
All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Agenda moves forward. And now we have the approval of the minutes. Oh, is that what we just said? Sorry.
Yes, that is the approval of
Thank
minutes.
you.
yes.
All
Step
right.
number 4.
Unfinished
No,
business. Ta-da! Oh, the approval, yeah. Approval of minutes is passed. Unfinished business, environmental purchasing policy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the commission. So we're bringing back to you the environmental purchasing policy. You saw this at your meeting in July. And I have a brief presentation to go over some of the changes that you were proposing from our last meeting. It's frozen. Everything's freezing on us. Bear with me, please. There. So tonight, once again, we're talking about the environmental purchasing policy. The history of this policy is in 2009, the city of Maplewood adopted the energy efficiency and conservation strategy. One of the strategies outlined in that document was to create an environmental purchasing policy to help the city meet its energy and conservation goals at the time. So the city of Maplewood reviewed that, the Environmental Commission, back in 2011, as well as our green team. And then our management team adopted that, and we have been doing our purchasing under that old document ever since. So then in 2019, you recall our sustainability intern, Meg Hanish, she was here, and one of her tasks was to take on the environmental purchasing policy and review that for any changes and make some updates. So she did a lot of research, talking to many of the departments on how they do their purchasing, and had recommended some changes. So from there, we took it to our green team, who reviewed the policy, and then we brought it to our environmental commission. So that was last year. The green team then in June of this year finally adopted that policy. And in July, we brought that to the Environmental Commission for your review, and you had a few changes, so we're bringing that back for you tonight. So here are the recommended changes that we discussed. And I'll go over these, and then I will point out where they are in the amended policy, and I'll stop for questions if you have any as I move along here. So there was a recommendation to consider adding a policy on green building purchasing. So in the green building section, you may recall from last month, I was indicating that it seemed a little redundant to add that the city of Maplewood had to follow its green building code, which is a code that we also adopted back in 2011. And this code requires that all city-owned and funded buildings comply with this code, which has higher energy efficiency standards and kind of looks at the overall site rather than just the building itself. So it looks at stormwater, it looks at trees, you know, and it looks at recycling the materials if it's kind of an addition or demolition. So I thought that over, and then I wanted to make sure that we're meeting the intent of your request, which was to ensure that these small improvements that we make at the city, like a new HVAC unit or air conditioning or I don't know, a new roof, something like that, comply with this green building code. So I checked with our building inspectors, and they indicated that yes, indeed, that would be required by the city. And of course, we do review all of the building permits because we have to comply with all the codes as well. So when we get a new roof or a new HVAC unit, our building inspectors look at that to ensure that it meets that policy. So that's where I added that and indicated that these smaller components would have to comply with that as well. Secondly, to add the statement and goals section indicating that this purchasing policy was also covering social equity. So, you know, that's a broad goal, but a lofty one, and something that of course we should strive for. So what I did is in the statement and goals section, I indicated that the policy should ensure socially responsible procurement and the promotion of social equity through contracts. So in our future contracts, having some language in that regard. And then also added that the city will purchase goods and services that, and then it goes on to all these bullet points. And one of those bullet points is promote equity. Does the policy include efficiency standards? So I did include that in the goals, that it should meet efficiency standards. And then over and above that, I took a look at the policy, and we have a lot of efficiency standard compliance measures. As an example, in the electronics, we require electronic product environmental assessment tool, or EPEAT. So our electronics have to meet that efficiency standard. So there's other standards that are outlined in there, such as Federal Energy Management Program, or FEMP. So all of these kind of meet the intent of having efficiency standards. So you'll let me know if that's what you meant by that. The fourth item, include a different definition for approved or preferred products. Include this as an implementation strategy. So what I did is in the implementation portion, I added with the establishment of the City Operations Purchasing Committee, and that goes on, made up of environmental planner, green team, members that purchase, so on and so forth, that one of the best practices that they'll look at is the creation of an environmentally preferred product list. So that's something to come in the future in the implementation strategies, as well as the development of a buying guidelines for environmentally preferred products. Moving on, we have, I think, 4 more. So the next item, let's see. List of bulk purchase products that reduce waste. So where I established this was, oh, yes, once again, in the implementation strategies for the Operations Purchasing Committee. So this will be something that they'll work on in the future, which is this list of bulk purchase products that reduce waste. So something that's easily accessible to our city employees. As an example, we have recently been doing a lot of bulk purchasing of organic dishware for our city events, which have been on hold for a while, but nonetheless. So we'll have examples of where we can purchase that in bulk. Next item, consider adding a policy around climate-friendly local foods. So I did add a definition of what climate-friendly is, and mainly it's, how it's grown and transported, reduces waste. And then added a section on food. Not that the city of Maplewood, I guess, does do some purchasing of food products, mainly for our events. So indicating that when we do hold events, that we will purchase climate-friendly foods. And then finally, 2 more. The preamble should include guidance on purchasing products that are local over long distance. So in that statement of policy, I added also that are locally produced. And then finally, the city should default to electric or hybrid vehicles unless there is a specific case why that can't happen. So I did modify the fleet section to kind of follow that guideline. So with that, I did include those changes in your staff report, and I wanted to give you an update on the next steps. So after your final recommendation tonight, The green team has a meeting on Wednesday, and we'll look that over again and give it the green team stamp of approval. We'll forward that on to our department heads for review. And then I would like to bring it to the city council for review and adoption. Our 2011 policy, however, never went to the city council. I think at the time we didn't feel it necessary to go to that level because it's in regard to city operations. However, our new 2020 Ramsey County SCORE recycling grant actually requires us to have an environmental purchasing policy, which we already do, but we are making improvements. And then it is one of the Green Step City's best practices. So for those reasons, I really think it's important to have that approval from also the council. So I hope to bring that to them later this year. And then, you know, that's when the hard part starts, is the education and outreach. So we'll work with the Green Team on doing this beginning in November. We always like to host a some sort of educational component around America Recycles Day, which for your information is always November 15th of every year. So that'll be a good opportunity for us to do some education with our employees during that usual time frame. And then, of course, the implementation strategies, rolling those out next year. So that is my presentation, and I will stand for questions.
I do not have a full screen, so if you can see everybody, Sean, you might have to call on them yourself. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Only see you.
So, Madam Chair, we'll just have people call out if they have questions, because the chair cannot see other individuals.
True.
I had to switch to my phone as well. So I only get to see whoever's talking. The internet at my house is being weird. So there.
Mine too. It's really strange. Are there any questions? Please just speak out. I'll just, you know what, I'll just do sort of around the, I'll just do kind of a roll call and make sure. Commissioner Palzer, do you have anything?
I don't. I think a lot of the additions that were made, the questions that were generated at the last meeting came from Commissioner Redmond. And he had some particular ideas. From what I recall, your changes hit those additions, those corrections. So I thought that everything looked good. I didn't have any further questions. It looks good as is.
Great. Commissioner Buttleman, do you have any questions or anything further to add?
No, I don't. I think the list does cover a wide area, and it looks like it's been well thought through.
Fantastic. Commissioner Okeson.
I'm good.
On your phone.
I'm good.
And Joe had anything to say? I don't know where he is, and I don't know his last name. I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, Joe is our communications director, and he's just following along.
I just can't see him. Okay. Let's see. I think, and I'm good. Is there anybody? If that's everybody, is there a motion on the floor? I know we're looking for one, and you're gonna have to say it.
I'll make a motion that we recommend approval of the Maplewood Environmental Purchasing Policy as drafted in our packet here.
Commissioner Palzer makes a motion. Does anyone second it?
I'll second it.
Rock, paper, scissors. Commissioner Buttleman seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Any opposed? Besides my dog barking? I'm sorry. It looks like it passes, Sean. Well done. I think you did hit on the nose everything that we were talking about last time. I'm going to have to get my dogs. I'm sorry. And I will be right. Let's see. Is that everything for unfinished business? Excellent. New business? Nothing. Hey. visitor presentations, because we have so many people here today. And it looks like nothing there. And commissioner presentations, which is me. Fantastic. Hopefully I can keep my dogs from barking. Let's see. So this is kind of an interesting thing that I had have happen. I was doing Garden in a Box for the schools. I have been for the past 5 years. And it is a program, an outreach program through the University of Minnesota Horticulture Department Society, or Minnesota State Horticulture Society. And our gardens up at Edgerton have been getting bigger and bigger every year. And even during COVID, actually, I've had more participation because the kids really need that connection and they were not participating in school. And so I had quite a few 8th grade boys actually help me do the gardens, and they measured them and they planted everything. And now they've been harvesting, and they planted flowers for their families, and they have been harvesting food from it. And she came, Courtney, let's see, Cheetah, I believe is her last name. She's the community outreach programs manager from Minnesota State Horticulture Society. And she runs, there are 2 outreach programs, our Minnesota Green and Garden in a Box. And she was really excited that it went from just 4 gardens to 10 gardens. And so she approved us for more things. And while we were there, some other kids from the middle school stopped by and asked if they could help. And she's like, you know, how do I get more seeds to more people so they can grow their own food? And I'm like, you are talking to the right person. And I just got off the phone with her actually, and they want to offer to provide seedlings and seeds, or like little starters and seeds for any, and yes, I did ask all of our small and large community gardens, and as well as the normal Garden in a Box, which is anybody can get, and it's all free. And I'm gonna get my dogs to stop barking quickly. Let's see, there's a website that you can check it out. It's https northerngardener.org Minnesota-green. Otherwise Garden in a Box is their other outreach. And you can stop being loud, you guys. And it comes with, I might have this backwards now because I can't think. 4 bags of dirt, the 40-pound bags of dirt, and 6 bags of compost for each raised circle garden, which is 3 feet in diameter. Plus it comes with a number of any plants. You get to pick out your plants and seeds and all that stuff. And all the seeds are heirloom ones. And so, I mean, it's really, really nice. And so anyway, that's just something she offered up. She wants to partner with the city of Maplewood to, like every time we have events or anything like that, we can do the little seed packet. And if we want to do anything, the art projects, you know, where you eat seeds or whatever, stuff like that at the, I was thinking Waterfest. They want to work with us. We have an entire palette of seeds right now, she said. So she's like, where can we give them to people? So it's really exciting. Because I showed her Edgerton Community Garden, and she's like, oh, that's so small. She's like, should we just like supply them with all the seeds and plants? And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. She's like, for next year, let's get it together. And I talked to her about Rice Street Gardens and Hazel. Oh, stop. And she's just like, yes, of course, let's hook it up. That way, you know, people don't have to buy money or spend money for that kind of stuff. So I think that'll be a really good partnership, and I hope that we can develop some plans. And depending on what happens with the Nature Center, she's willing to help out with anything there as well. So anyway, that's all I got. I thought that was pretty neat. Yeah, you need to stop barking. You're too loud.
Madam Chair.
All right.
So
Yes, ma'am.
are there any particular dates that they would distribute, or like, would we wait until spring?
What they did this year, yeah. Yep, in the spring. After the last frost, they'll send out an email to all entities. They had, I want to say almost, this is probably going to be wrong, but it was more than I was thinking. There was like 200 gardens in Minneapolis, and a guy just came multiple times with his truck to get all the stuff to deliver it to different people. And she's like, we want people to be able to grow their own food, and just that's such a goal of ours, for people to eat healthier and be able to grow their own food. And I just thought, what a nice partnership this could be. So yep, and they have a distribution. There's a whole bunch of days, and then you can go to the different areas. You can request an area for distribution. If you have enough, they'll go there.
That's great news. So perhaps you could send me her contact info, and we can make sure that our city resources are utilized.
Yeah.
And we contact our all of our community gardens early in the spring, including
Yep, I want
the
to
one.
set the grant. You can do coming up fairly soon, because they want to make sure they have enough things for the next year. Oh my goodness. What is going on out here? Are you just singing? That's enough. So I'll get a hold of that, because there's a deadline to apply for it so they can have all of the supplies. But then, it's kind of like then they forget about you for a while, it feels like, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, by the way, come pick up everything. So, but you have distribution times, and if you have somebody that can either deliver or help man it, then they can have it anywhere. So that's kind of nice in that aspect. Hey, come inside. You're too noisy.
Can I ask a question? Are you saying that the materials are available to individuals who've reserved plots in community gardens, or it's available to anyone?
Anyone.
Thank you.
It can be one per resident, or you can have, each resident can have up to 10. And if it's for educational purposes, or especially if you work with kids, they are super excited to get people growing their own food. And so I put 10 at the Edgerton Gardens, and then they gave me 10 to deliver to families that were wanting to grow their own food. So it was really cool. And I think all that you need to do is either take a picture of your family or whoever putting it together or planting, or after it's grown or harvesting, just a couple pictures here and there, and everything's free. Very nice. Does anybody else have any questions? All right.
Well, that's an amazing partnership. Thank you for coordinating that. And if you could send me the details, I'll make sure that we take advantage of that grant. And then also that they know about, I guess, our nature center situation. And of course, it was the nature center that managed the community garden. Oakley Bisons, our naturalist there. And that's responsibility has been taken over by another staff member temporarily. So we'll need a plan moving forward with that next year.
Exactly. Well, thank you for listening, you guys. Next is staff presentations, Green Step Cities. Step 5 award goes to Sean Finwall.
Thank you. So tonight, I just wanted to share with you that the city of Maplewood has been awarded the Step 5 award once again by the Green Step Cities program. So that's a huge accomplishment. Thank you so much, environmental commissioners, for your work in this regard. And I wanted to share with you some of the best practices that we improved on. So the program, there are 28 best practices. And then in addition to that, yearly, we have to submit metrics, and there's probably about 45, 50 metrics that we have to monitor and measure every year. But the Green Step Cities best practices, they fall in categories with building and lighting, land use, transportation, environmental management, and resilient economic and community development. So here is the, and then every year that we've been awarded, we continue to get a new block, as they call it. And these are from a local company. They reuse wood and make products from it. So this is the block that we'll get to add to our already increasingly large award. But the improvements from the 2018 to 2019 Green Step Cities reporting year, we have to improve on at least 3 of the core metrics to get to step 5. Step 4 is actually measuring. So as long as we measure every year, we have step 4. But getting to step 5 is again improving on at least 3. And this year we improved on 12. And they are around energy use at city buildings. So we had a reduction of 3.54 kBTU. So we're reducing our energy use, and a lot of that has to do with, creating more efficiencies as we make improvements. As I indicated with new HVAC units and switching out our lights to all LED. Average miles per gallon for city vehicles. So clearly, this identifies that we have reduced our mileage and decreased our use of gasoline. And that miles per gallon reduction was by 0.30. The number of electric vehicle charging stations in the city, and this is throughout the city, that has increased to 5. And there's a site that you can go on, and I should have had this for you, but maybe you're familiar with it if you drive an electric vehicle, but you can find all the charging stations and all the auto stations too that have alternative fuels. So we've increased that in the city by 4. The number of trees planted in public spaces, there were 42 additional trees planted on the right-of-way and in parks. And this also included our tree sale that we held this spring. So all of those trees are counted that the city residents purchased at a reduced cost and planted in their own yard. Gallons of residential and commercial water use. We do get this information from St. Paul Regional Water Services as well as utilizing the census data. And that was reduced by 6 gallons. Impaired waters. This is a huge one. In Maplewood, we have, I should have had this in front of me, 7 or 8 public water bodies, including 2 creeks. And over the years, particularly our watershed district and partnerships with the city and county when we do road improvement projects, making those improvements to reduce runoff and decrease the amount of pollutants that are going into our lakes. So the most recent lake to be removed from the impaired waters was Beaver Lake. So it takes a lot to get that accomplished. Solid waste composted. This was a huge increase, 28% increase in compost being recycled. And I think a lot of that has to do, well, all of it, I'm sure, with the Ramsey County's new satellite drop-off locations throughout the county, as well as their yard waste program, where you can drop off compost there. Number of solar panel sites in the city, 20 additional solar panel sites. Generation capacity of solar sites, which goes hand in hand, 102 kilowatt hours of additional generation. Energy used for street lights was reduced 651 kilowatt hours per year. And a lot of that has to do with Xcel Energy converting many of their street lights to LED. Some of this we don't have a lot of control over because, Ramsey County might manage some of this and so forth. But here's one, it's a good example of a partnership. Number of LED lights in city facilities, there was a 4% increase. And then finally, greenhouse gas assessment for city operations. We have been doing a greenhouse gas assessment now for the last probably 5 years. And this is great news. At least for our city operations, there was an 18% reduction in that greenhouse gas. So there you have it, a rundown of our best practices that we improved on. And again, thank you for all your efforts put into helping the city of Maplewood become a green step city and forward our environmental policies and goals.
That is so great. And I know it looks like it's not a lot of words, but there's a lot of work behind that. I really appreciate everything you're doing. This is amazing. And everything you don't have to do because they're doing stuff too.
Even better.
But there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work behind every single one of those lines. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Sorry,
I will move on.
Outside.
I just wanted to update you on the Environmental and Natural Resource Commission vacancies. So as you know, there are 2 vacancies to replace Commissioner Sin, who resigned last year, and his membership would have been expiring September 30th of this year. So the new member would have a total of 3 years with their membership ending September 30th of 2023. So there's one 3-year term. And then the second one is to replace Commissioner Gould, who resigned earlier this year. And his membership was expiring 9/30 of 2021. So that'll be a 1-year term. So we have one 3-year and one 1-year term. And we are taking applications for the Environmental and Natural Resources Commission. And those applications are online. Probably the easiest way to find them is I added it to the Environmental Commission webpage. And I understand that the deadline is September 4th, and that we have received, I was told several, I don't know what that means, applications to date. So the City Council will be reviewing those applications in September. So we hope to have 2 new commissioners beginning probably October.
I have a question about that. Is it's encouraging that we have several applications that have come in? And I have to preface this by saying that my job, I'm a recruiter. So I have to advertise and recruit for openings at my company. So just kind of putting on that hat and knowing that we need these 2 slots filled and recalling that we had a couple other candidates in consideration that ended up not coming on board on the commission. And I was curious, like thinking about, we just had our primary election. So we had some folks that were interested in, running for city council and mayoral positions that, as, looked at the candidate information forms, they had some thoughts and opinions and plans for environmental work within the city. So I thought maybe if there's possibility to reach out to candidates who won't be moving forward to the general election, maybe that would be an interesting way or good way or way they'd be open to kind of getting into city government by volunteering on a commission. And then wondered if thinking of individuals who are applying and interested in the Nature Center Task Force, maybe also an audience and some overlap with people who would be interested in possibly volunteering and serving on the commission as well. So is it appropriate, either on the staff side or for us as commissioners to reach out to any of those individuals to encourage applications for the open vacancies?
I would say absolutely, as a commissioner, that would be very helpful if you did.
And probably not. I'm making an assumption that that's not appropriate as staff members to recruit individuals.
I like your recruitment hat, and I'm not sure there's anything wrong with it, but I think it would be best served if it came from an actual commissioner.
I think that makes sense, just to not muddy the waters. Is it appropriate to ask for any contact information and an email that folks are submitting on the Nature Center Task Force applications? I believe that the candidate information forms likely had contact information shared. So I think that that's public information. So I would be able to access that, for example, or act on that. But for the Nature Center Task Force?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Palzer. I understand that, and this was our next item, so I'll just update you on that as we move along here, but the deadline for submitting those applications for the Nature Center Task Force has passed, and the City Council does have all the applications, and they have reviewed them and scored them based on, I'm not sure how they're doing the scoring, but ranked them somehow. And then they will be reviewing that during their next meeting, which is August 24th, I believe. So at that point, I imagine all the applicants will be public information. So look for that detail, August 24th, yes. So that packet will actually go out on Wednesday.
Okay. So the 24th, and then you said that September 4th is the deadline for applications. So there's a bit of a lag, applications for the commission. So
right,
maybe some outreach could have a potential impact. So I'll keep an eye out for that, just in the interest of making more people aware of this vacancy and this opportunity, and to be involved. So thank you.
Absolutely. I would just like to say, every email I received from people who were upset about losing the Nature Center, I sent all of them to the Maplewood website telling them that we had vacancies on the ENR Commission. So.
Smart. Good job.
Also with the Nature Center and Park and Rec Task Force, I understand that they'll be setting their first meeting soon, but they don't have an exact date.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything from anybody, so.
No. And I did let the management know that, of course, the Environmental Commission appointed Commissioner Okeson and Commissioner Palzer as an alternate. And then the Parks Commission, they have before them during their meeting on Wednesday, the same request to make that appointment. So you'll likely hear something soon after that August 24th meeting.
Okay.
Well,
congratulations. That's so cool.
That's it then for me. Thank you.
All right. Is there anything anybody else has left? Any questions or any other lovely information for us? I don't know what time it is because I can't see it on. Can you tell me what time it is? Because it's on my phone.
10 to 8.
7:47.
Oh, do I have a motion? We can be done.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Commissioner Palzer makes a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I think that one was Ms. Okeson.
I'll let Bowman have it.
You got one and he got one. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Yeah. Any opposed? Okay. Looks like we're going to adjourn at 7:48.